do you consider yourself self-aware?
Not really.
Do you think you're nosy?
Yes. Inquisitive would be the word I'd use.
Okay, no, I have found you to be someone who over time is nosy, my lifetime, but I didn't think that you thought you were nosy. I have felt off of you for about 2 weeks that you're dying to ask me questions about this squatter.
Yeah, I am. And the whole idea of, there's actually a phrase, squatters' rights. The idea that somebody who invades somebody else's property and because they do somehow have some rights to stay there is just beyond me.
Florida's actually pretty good about getting that out of the court system.
Thank
God. But I was hours away from not being able to get into my house because the doorknobs were changed, because I found the doorknobs in the house and they were ready to be, I was ready to have a discussion with police where I didn't have the keys to my house. And then that's how it ends up in the court system, and that's how it ends up with free rent for however long. I want to talk to this person. I've got a bunch of different questions. I think it'd be great content. I'd just be welcoming something that is a little bit crazy into my life. After Manu. Last weekend, though, 10 days after this, what arrives at my house? A couch.
Free, nice.
Congrats. Is it a nice couch?
No.
Suede? Naugahyde? What do you got?
Yes, Naugahyde. It's a oddly enough, it's a Naugahyde couch.
Yes.
I thought he said Nalgahide. I was like, oh.
That's a $5 fine for you because your computer just made a sound and it beeped. The fine bucket is back in play.
That's
it
on
is
me.
alive, and so let me see the cash. Do you have cash on you?
Cash? Who carries cash?
You can bet on that.
2026.
Oh, it's not on video. My bad.
You just did your cross-eyed Cash Patel impersonation, not realizing that you're not on camera.
Which, by the way, a crime that we did not have that on the topic board. Cash Patel. Yeah. What a week he had, huh?
Woof.
Are you talking about his girlfriend or something else?
No, something much more important, Dan. Something much more important.
Oh, you don't know about this. Dan, he got hacked. His personal email got hacked.
Oh.
And so the internet had all sorts of videos and access to subscriptions that he had. He signed up for one on January 6th.
Attaboy.
That's not even the worst thing he did this week.
No, but he signed up to crank it on January 6th. Allegedly.
What questions do you have about the squatter?
Well, do you get to keep the couch? Or does he have any rights to that?
No, I get to keep whatever it is. There were 7 packages the last time I was there. There were an assortment of things the last time I was there. I was surprised. This is trickling in on the back end because it's cheap furniture. And what is the name of that company? It's a Chinese company that makes very cheap furniture.
Temu.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking IKEA.
Oh,
They're Scandinavian.
Yes, whatever.
That's it? You have no more questions?
I have a bunch of questions. You should. I dare you. You would have balls the size of grapefruits if you invited for an interview onto this show your squatter.
I'm hugely interested. I've got a bunch of different questions about how it is that he planned to stay there for months because he thought he had found himself a house. And it's weird to me that we didn't run into him earlier than this. It makes me wonder if he was hiding in the house on occasion while we were there.
Yeah, I think he was.
a little bit of a victory lap by him, no? To get the furniture before you switched out the doorknobs? Maybe you switch the doorknobs first and then you start ordering.
No. Oh, you think he was? Oh, he's guilty of getting complacent and counting his chickens before they were hatched.
He was high stepping. He had the ball behind his head, high stepping on his way to the end zone, holding it back behind him.
Timut is very, very long to get from China over here, especially with all the stuff going on in the Strait of Hormuz. You figure out what's the situation.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't think it's the Strait of Hormuz that caused that to not get here quicker. Purdue was a number 1 seed as
Kirk Cousins looked like JCPenney.
Looks like it's back, Jack. It's bracket time, so make a chart. Does Jeff Van Gundy look just like the Queen of Hearts? Does Adam Silver look like a torpedo bat? Let's get March Sadness back on track. Looks like his back, Jack. When the donuts are in front of you, does Andy Reid say, don't mind if I do? Adam Silver looks like a Q-tip thing, or frying a bag of onion rings. When Timmy laughs until he has, that's how you know that looks like his back, Jack. Let me hear you say, looks like his back, Jack. Let's keep on doing it every year. So Adnan Burke says, Mr. Bond, welcome to Tangier. Jeff Fisher looks like shotgunning beers at a NASCAR track. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Looks like his back, Jack.
Northwestern is gone from the tournament.
Jim Harbaugh looks like a casket salesman.
Fairleigh Dickinson, 16 seed, rep by
Mike McDaniel looked like a college student on a full ride scholarship for esports.
What a run.
Looks like his back, Jack.
Juju. Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Do you own a wallet? Greg Cody has pulled out his wallet because he has been fined during the Shadow Show $5 for his computer going off. He's going to give me that money in a second. How long have you had that wallet, Greg?
Probably 10 to 15 years.
Oh, will you ever get a new one?
No.
That's it.
Yeah.
You're done. This is your last. This is the punctuation
last wallet.
on your wallet game.
Yeah.
All right, $5, please, for
Right.
the
All I have
penalty.
are hundreds. All I got is bennies.
The Fine Bucket is presented by Moneyline. Download the Moneyline app or visit moneyline.com to learn more. Moneyline, make money easy.
Jeremy, would you do me the favor, please, of getting change for this? Because I need to give him the $95, and I need to do this now because I'm finally getting a hold of this fine system after all of these years. No one is getting away anymore without paying.
Dan, how the hell are you going to find someone to have 95
Yeah, just clarifying. I
bucks
need
in his
in
$95
the fine
in
bucket.
cash?
There is already. It's all my money. It's all my
But
fine money.
all you put
It's-
in is hundreds.
No, I've put in a number of different denominations, and we finally got the fine bucket under control. I wanted to talk about an entrance last night that made me laugh. The Marlins lose last night to the White Sox. Not enough is made of what we did 2 years ago, where we had a couple of Mets from the 1962 Mets on to celebrate that the White Sox were about to have a worse season than the Mets, and then the White Sox won like 5 out of their last 6 games, and it didn't actually end up happening, and we did the math wrong. And so the 1962 Mets still have the worst season. But that White Sox team is the worst I've ever seen. The Marlins opened with the Rockies and swept them. And yesterday, they get crushed by the White Sox. And Chris Paddock, and I want to hear some of this story, thank you, from Jeremy. I want to hear some of the story of Chris Paddock because he was drafted by the Marlins in 2015, and he's making his debut 11 years later. And he comes into the ballpark really confident with the Marlins, saying there's a new sheriff in town. He's wearing a cowboy hat. He is. They've got the photo of him walking out and getting out of his car, where they just take a picture of his boots getting out of the car like you see in the movies. And then he gives up 8 runs in 4 innings and promptly leaves the field with his nipples on fire.
I mean, come on. What are you doing?
It's a White Sox, Dan. What do you expect?
You can't come in this way.
They're a really bad baseball team. I supported the Marlins for the first time all season. I got the subscription. I figured out how. I dedicated 25 minutes to it, and I finally got the ability to watch the Marlins on TV for the first time in several seasons. I came back from putting my daughter to bed, and apparently the White Sox just have this guy that's allowed to run around the bases all he wants. Like, he can just do whatever with impunity. This Acuna guy. And I don't think that's the Acuna everybody else talks about, Dan.
Yeah, he's a pretty good player, right? Yeah, he won the World Baseball Classic.
Can you walk into the ballpark this way and then give up 8 runs on in 4 innings? Tony, you're just saying dress like you want to play?
The guy comes in with a dually truck. He's got the jacket. He's got the boots on. He's got the hat. You let him do what he wants to do.
I mean, yes, to answer your question, Dan, this is very much a tree falling in the forest type of thing. If a dude walks into a Marlins game on a Monday dressed like that, does anyone notice? They might if he gives up 8 earned runs. And I saw something else in this ball game that really chapped my ass, Dan. Really does. You know, like, I just found out that the catchers and the pitchers aren't given signs anymore. We're losing recipes. What? And now I know that this has been happening for a very long time, and I know Roy has my back here. The first guy that I saw do this was Cespedes, the highlighter, arm sleeve. Like, there was a dude on the Marlins that had a gold arm sleeve and a gold belt. Like, a gold belt. There's a reason there's a uniform. What I get individualism, and like, you have the cleats. You get the day to put on whatever nickname on the back of the jersey. What is this? If you're going to wear equipment that's funky, use an alt color. You have Caliente Red right there. What? Gold? That's not a part of the color scheme. The belt set me off. This has been something that's been percolating with me about this sport for several years. But when I saw a guy has the ability to just not use a team belt, what is this? We're losing recipes.
Yeah, it's an outrage.
They still wear belts?
At least when Stanton was down here, he wore an orange arm sleeve. At least that matched.
It's anarchy.
It is.
And it should be style points for whomever it is that wants to rattle baseball's cage, however it is that they rattle it. Stunned that Mike is already the old guy complaining about how the kids are dressing these days.
Yeah, I don't like how it sounds. I know it's a boomer take. Now, I'm aware that it's been happening for like a decade, right?
Yeah.
Cespedes isn't even in the league anymore, right?
That's right.
But it bothers me, and I've been kind of dealing with it because I don't really pay attention to the sport, but I'm trying to get back into the sport, and things like that, they're losing me. They're losing me.
Well, the new sheriff in town, I want to talk about this for a second, okay? Chris Paddock is on a 1-year, $4 million deal. They need him to, if they're going to do anything this season, and I believe they're actually on the right track. We have a couple of things happening with the Dolphins and the Marlins where they're just stripping it down to nothing over years so that they can start the process of rebuilding with young players. But yesterday we missed something, and I'm surprised as the Latin show that we missed it. We did not do enough with the fact that in the third game of the season, the Spanish broadcast introduced to us, because I was not aware before this, and I wasn't aware until I was driving home, that the Spanish broadcast for the Marlins has a rally rooster. I did not know there was a rally rooster. I love that the baseball broadcast in Spanish, that the announcer can go summon a rooster sound when he wants a rally. But rarely do you get the rally rooster combination and then Owen Casey hits the walk-off home run immediately after you've summoned the rally rooster. So I failed here in not playing this sound more and recognizing the seismic achievement, if indeed this is something the broadcaster only brings out once in a while. Now, if he's doing it 20 times a game, that's something entirely different. But on this call, he got it exactly right.
Los Marlins no se dan por vencidos. Suéname el gallo, por favor. Ya se prepara otra vez. El empate está en segunda. Lanzamiento, le tira y saca un batazo alto largo por el right field. Que sí, que no, que no, que sí. Adiós, mamacita linda. Home run de Owen Casey.
That's perfect. The Rally Rooster is so well named. It's more than the alliteration. It's the idea that the rooster stands as a wake-up call. It's perfect. It kicks the ass of the Rally Monkey. The Rally Rooster is the best invention in baseball.
So, Greg, it's not a real rooster, just so we're clear.
It doesn't matter.
Because the monkey was a real monkey. This is not a real rooster.
Well, Punch the Monkey, it was a real monkey, too, and he's faded. You know, he was a big thing.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog. I get all that.
Yeah.
Are you're just giving random monkey thoughts, and that opens the door to that particular judgment where he goes, Jeremiah is a bullfrog, just because you had a monkey thought
Right.
and just wanted to, did you just want to show that you knew something that happened in pop culture 10 days ago?
Yeah, and there really wasn't a bulldog named Jeremiah. There was a monkey named
Bullfrog.
Punch. Well, whatever. Jeremiah was a bulldog. What difference does it make? If you had a bulldog in your house, you wouldn't have had a squatter. But that's an aside.
All right, guys. I'm just telling you right now, brace yourselves, okay? Because we are in for Cody the last couple of weeks, okay? There have been some places where he's nonsensical, and he's coming out of the box strong today on just random thoughts. Whatever's in his head is coming out and is getting spilled at every turn.
Dan, hold on. I'm going to see if that was a Greg Cody first down. They're bringing out the chains right now. Let's see. Hold on.
That was another Greg Cody first down.
Hooah!
By the way,
I believe they got the measurement wrong. Wait
No,
a
that
minute.
was good.
What do you know? You're on the
I need a
sidelines.
challenge flag. You guys
The
got
Rams of the first down.
Yeah, everyone's a critic in the stands.
you need an ABS to figure out whether that was a first down. Chris Paddock is the guy who was in the cowboy hat, right?
Yes.
Okay, you mentioned $1 million. The budget Marlins, $4 million a year. He's their. I could be wrong. He's their third highest money player. That's how much budget ball they're playing. It's Alcantara, obviously, way number one, and I believe Pete Fairbanks is the only other guy making $10 million. So it's unavoidable. You know, I know I'm a broken record on this, but until they start spending money, particularly on bats, they're going to be the team that Clayton McCullough said they were after the opener. I'm in the room with him, and he's going, this is the game we have to win all season long, meaning they just won 2-1, meaning they need great pitching and defense because they're not going to have the bats, and we've already seen that early.
Does it matter to you, Greg, that since June 20th of last year, they're the third best team in the National League?
It's good. I mean, I think they are doing a lot of the right things. Peter Bendix is doing here what he did in Tampa in terms of youth and trades for cheap guys, but eventually you have to also spend. That's what the other teams do.
That's right. But right now, is there anyone that it would be wise to spend money on? The reality is that you're still trying to find out who of this core that you've traded for and developed over the last several years. I mean, on opening day, you had 8 of the 9 guys in the lineup weren't actually homegrown draft picks. They were guys that Peter Bendix, for the most part,
Right.
there were a couple guys that were acquired before, but mostly guys that Peter Bendix acquired in the last couple of years. They've developed in those last couple of years and now have brought up to the show. And over the span of the last few months of last year, those guys played very well. So you go out and spend, 2 years, $12 million on some second baseman. For
on
what?
Avisel Garcia, like they did a couple of years ago
Right,
when they
that's
were
4
trying
for
to be in this
53.
position.
Right.
This isn't about spending, and we're wandering away from the important thing, which is how quickly a walk-off home run was hit after the rooster sound. Like, this doesn't happen very often this
Ya
way.
se prepara otra vez el empate.
The whole thing. Give me the whole thing, because I want Tony's entire translation on everything that's being said here, because there's a mamacita in there. This is an excellent home run call, but again, you rarely get. How many baseball broadcasts have a soundboard where the broadcaster can ask somebody? He's asking a producer, I need the rally rooster right now. The rally rooster arrives when beckoned, and then so does the walk-off.
Los Marlins no se dan por vencidos. Suéname el gallo, por favor. Ya se prepara otra vez. El empate está en segunda. Lanzamiento, le tira y saca un batazo alto largo por el right field. Que sí, que no, que no, que sí. Adiós, mamacita linda. Home de Owen Casey.
So let me see if I have this right, Tony. You are our most authentic Hispanic Spanish language translator. The call, que sí, que no, que sí. I don't understand it.
So he's like, is it going? Is it not? It's not. It is.
And then he says, do I have this right? Goodbye, beautiful mamacita?
Yeah. Goodbye, mamacita linda. That means the ball is out of here, baby.
Okay, so
My question, if I want to do the math on the front end of the rooster, right? And obviously we don't have the full context of the game to know what he's calling for. Is it a rally rooster? Or, like you said, had it been played 20 times during the
well,
broadcast?
he says again, even he requests it again. Like he
Suéname
is
gallo.
saying, but otra vez, he says. Like,
Or is it an actual rooster? Because they're common around that
they are.
ballpark.
It is possible. You're right about that.
Him like plucking a feather off
Has
a rooster and be
headsets
like,
on, and he just like slaps the rooster on the back. Like, go ahead and give it to him.
The Spanish language broadcast having the ability to summon a soundboard during the middle of a baseball game is the kind of disrespect I'm here for. It's not, look, Vince Scully would have never done that.
A soundboard in Vince Scully's studio.
A rooster calling
Man, a soundboard in general. There should be no soundboard.
A Dodger rally. They don't call for Dodger rallies. They just go buy Japan's greatest player ever for $2 million a season. They don't have to. They don't do it. All of this. I want you guys to enjoy the fact that a Marlins pitcher walked in last night, head to toe a Cowboy in South Florida. We don't see a lot of those. Head to toe a Cowboy. He's walking into a ballpark that had how many people in it? Because this is not, he's trying to make this the NBA fashion entrance, but he's walking into a Marlins game. He's doing so, and then he gives up 8 runs in 4 innings. And also, there's a Spanish broadcaster who's really lonely up there calling Marlins games on the radio, who's just entertaining himself and calling a rooster, which is, honest to God, I like it. But when you got Mike out here complaining that somebody's wearing gold that's not a uniform color, baseball fans generally don't like, hey, stop with the shenanigans in my broadcast. I don't need a rally rooster that's not catching on anywhere in South Florida. And I've got the general public wondering, well, Calle Ocho, there might be an actual rooster around there.
6 of them there before I walked in the stadium on opening day.
Wait, not catching on, but what if this was the event that makes it catch on? The guy called it. He's like Babe Ruth. He called a shot.
And not only that, but it was Casey at the bat.
Am I supposed to get that? I want to be there to support you.
Thank you.
Well, Casey at the Bat is the most famous baseball poem has ever been written, and
so I didn't get
Casey
That's on us.
hit a walk. It is on us. It's just that, generally speaking, it is the most famous baseball thing ever written, I'm going to say.
Thank you.
Is it?
It was written in 1888, so I
It's a
can
fossilized
understand
reference.
maybe
Okay.
why Dan
Sophomore
didn't
year,
know.
Greg?
For sure.
1988.
For sure. Like, it's like it's the original baseball poem.
Rare that you can have the sentence later popularized by vaudeville performances.
Also, Casey struck out. That's the
I know, but this Casey didn't. He
put
heard
it on-
the
put
rooster
it on-
and obeyed it.
We let you down.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. But he was so proud of it, and he let the silence sit there because he knew he had a winner.
Let it sit.
He knew he had the original baseball poem, again, 50 years before vaudeville. I'm going to say maybe 60 years before vaudeville, but put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is Casey at the Bat the most famous baseball thing ever written? Because I don't know what it is that I would put in second place. Bill James's baseball abstract? Like, I don't know what to put second after that.
Take me out to the ball game.
Oh, there you
Okay,
go.
but I think of that as a song. Fair enough. But
written.
no. And I think of that as the first baseball song. That came like 50 years after Casey at the Bat. I'm guessing Take Me Out to the Ball Game is a full half century after the poem Casey at the Bat. But that can we find out more? Can we do some reporting and find out whether the rooster is played 25 times a game? Because in the history of rally things in sports, we haven't had that many of them in South Florida. We have what year was the championship Muscle Boy? What was that, 2003 or was that 97?
I think that was 97.
So Muscle Boy in 1997 is a famous South Florida local sports mascot thing.
Yeah, I'd argue in terms of sparking a rally, that's on the medal stand. It's behind, the freestyle clap at Mark Light Stadium.
Marlins Man is going to get in here, right?
Marlins Man doesn't cue anything but himself.
He's the opposite.
Yeah, he doesn't start rallies. He's just there. And Pepas, for a beautiful year span, Pepas sparked rallies in this town. Both the Panthers and the Heat would play it, and those teams would go on runs.
What about Jay-Z and Kanye West in Paris? That was, during the Heat run, that was a big one, right?
Do the Cyclones have a mascot?
It's a $2 fine for coughing into the microphone.
Yeah, it's Unda.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
How big was the fine otherwise? If I didn't call.
$2. Make sure to put it in the fine bucket.
I need my money, by the way.
We're going to get to it in a second. I saw Jeremy wander around here and just do loops of inefficient
Well, because you only put
circles.
hundreds in there.
Okay. Can we get to your catchphrases, please? And do you have a back in my day?
I do. and we can.
What?
Yeah, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. I do one a month now. I did one in January. I did one in February, and I snuck in on the last day of March.
You just got it in.
Yes, I did.
I thought you weren't doing March. You were boycotting it because we let Dave Damashek have a Back in My Dave.
Yeah.
And you didn't like that.
With the
and I
same
thought-
music, by the way. At least get original music for the guy. I feel bad for Damashek having to siphon my sound as well as my bit.
The Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody
Thank you,
is
Roy.
on what number when it comes to catchphrases for Greg Cody? What
Here's the beauty of it. We're at halftime. Okay, it's a top 50 countdown, and the new episode of the Greg Cody Show has catchphrases 26 and 25. So the marching band is taking the field. We are celebrating halftime of the Double C.
Do you want to go through them real quick?
You want me to do all of them? I'll
Yes.
do them quickly because I
Yes.
don't want to belabor it.
All right, so yes, we wouldn't want to belabor that around here at all. Oh no, here we go. This has been happening all morning. He and I were giggling about.
There's no way my cough was $2, and that's a $2 fine as well.
That is another fine, Greg Cody. You
Okay,
will owe
just
the,
keep the whole thing.
You're going to owe the 100 by the end.
All right.
But let's go ahead and go through Greg Cody's catchphrases. He's at the halfway point. It's very exciting. The Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody is a very popular podcast, and he enjoys doing it with his son, who's not here today because he is exploiting our vacation schedule. Number 50.
50, I'm Fullerton Vern Fuller.
49.
Where's my click, click?
48.
Hey, Butterfinger.
47.
Punt.
46.
Scranton.
It came off so strong at the beginning. Like you started so strong.
Okay, you're throwing me off by doing the numbers.
45.
I'm busier than a one-armed paper hanger.
44.
Georgia, Georgia.
43.
I'm the kind of guy that
42.
ballin' the jack.
41.
Hey, hey, with the monkeys, baby.
40.
Thank you, Billy.
39.
I love him like a pet.
38.
Who made it a salad?
T-shirts available now at lebatardaf.com. 36.
37. We're rolling now, huh?
36.
Your brain beating me.
35.
Let's go, States.
34.
Driver comfort is paramount.
33.
Dummy up. Save up.
What is that one?
Dummy up. Parentheses, save up. It's like a duo. One goes with the other one.
32.
Catch as catch can.
31.
Doesn't make it right.
30.
So on and so forth.
29.
Very good. Very good. That's my parrot, my rally parrot. When you score the winning run, the whole stadium in unison should go, very good.
I endorse that idea. I endorse that idea. How do we synchronize any place publicly where everyone does the very good parrot out of the side of their mouth? 28.
The Little League theory.
That's such a terrible one. 27.
Nice hat, asshole.
26.
All right, these are the new ones. 26. The others, they all learn from me.
What is the origin story on that? Do you know?
I do know. It's actually, it's not original to me, but I've purloined it and now own it. The 1985 Chicago Bears win the Super Bowl. They do a hokey but popular at the time video called Super Bowl Shuffle. Refrigerator Perry, all the stars of the day are in it, including quarterback Jim McMahon. And one of his lines in that video is the others, they all learn from me. I took it, gave it a little bit of a sing-songy quality, and generally say it when I'm alone in my house. And the only people who hear it are somebody in a far room or the dog.
How do you take something from a song and make it sing-songy quality? What does that mean?
Well, Jim McMahon, I believe, just stated the phrase, and I went, the others, they all learn from me. emphasis on the learn. You go a little bit deeper. The others, pause, they all learn from me.
Why are you doing this only when you're alone in the house and no one's actually? So it's a catchphrase. Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Can you have a popular catchphrase if you always use it alone in your house?
Well, Christopher's heard it. He referred to having heard it dozens of times. So I do say it, but generally speaking, I don't say it publicly. I just say it in the confines of the house.
Greg, what's the context of what you're saying, though? Like, you're just going to say it randomly, or like something happens, there's a cause and effect that makes you say it?
I generally say it when I'm proven right, and it's a humble brag sort of vibe to it.
But you wait until you're alone?
Sometimes I'm alone.
25.
Don't go showering to try to please me.
All right, I don't like it, but I can't wait for that to pop up in the countdown as we roll all through it. It'll hit just the same way that punt does.
There's also a song-related explanation to that one, and the song is
Billy Joel.
Yeah, the 1977 Billy Joel song "Just the Way You Are," and when it's really an ode to my wife, because whenever she announces, "Hey, I'm going to take a quick shower," I go, "Don't go showering to try to please me." Likewise, if she said, "I think I'm going to go get changed," I go, "Don't go changing to try to please me." So that's number 25. We're at halftime of the catchphrase countdown. Thank you.
I've got to offer you a public apology and a private apology for thinking that particular self-involvement would not provide podcast entertainment. Mike has it right. When you are asking, Roy, the sing-song nature of things, that is comedically perfect because of his when he throws in change-ups. Like, he's not all – they're fastballs, 104, and he throws an occasional eephus pitch. Little League theory doesn't even make any sense.
I'm the kind of guy that –
That's an excellent one.
Right.
Like that for me is like punt, the way he's gotten very good at the musical cadences, and now he's a performer. Now he's an entertainer. Now he's playing his personal hits, and it's in the wheelhouse of his self-involvement.
Yeah. We did 2 a week because we wanted to drag it out, if I'm being frank.
Milk it.
Yeah.
Milk it
Yes.
for maximum clicks. Please don't do the milking of a cow gesture anymore on our
It'd be worse if I
national.
was doing it with one hand.
No, it's pretty bad. Doing it, it's twice as bad doing it with both.
I mean, cows have what do the cows have? 6 udders? 6 or 8?
I think is it 6 udders or is it a udder with 6 or 8 nipples?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. Is it 6 on a cow?
That kind
Roy?
of thing.
6, right?
6, 7.
That kind of thing. Well said, Tony.
It's definitely one udder.
Let's never do that again.
It's the other one.
Again, that voice has to be me.
Don't do this again.
What voice?
Here for you, but mostly the audience. It's how we age gracefully.
I think I'm going to have to get this puppet involved so that you have 2 different characters to play with so that you can honor what you're supposed to be doing with both different characters. One of them who speaks in your voice when reprimanding me, and the other one. That was so distracting that I stepped on his utter joke. Just an excellent joke.
Thank you.
By you.
Yeah, the other one. Where do you go? You made fun of me once for saying I wanted to get a full-size statue of myself. Where do you go to get a puppet of yourself made? I'm curious about that.
Puppets.com.
I'm pretty sure that they went and got the guy who does the Muppets to do that, I think.
Oh, my God. That's high level.
Or like whoever it is that
Jim
does
Henson?
that now. No.
Is that what they
He's
told
not
you?
with us anymore.
Must have cost a pretty penny.
Was Jim Henson the one who physically put them together? Because I know Jim Henson divined the characters, but I didn't think that he was the person who physically did the whatever it is seamstressing that is required.
It was his sister. True story. I watched the documentary.
Was it good?
Jill
Yeah,
Henson.
really good.
The Miami Heat beat the 76ers last night, and I think the 76ers are formidable if they are a healthy basketball team. it is interesting to me and unsurprising that Joel Embiid gets tired, gets really tired, because he's not playing the same way everyone else is playing in terms of number of games. He misses so much time. And so the Miami Heat win a game against Philadelphia, and it's only their second win in 9 tries. We were talking yesterday about how bad their defense has gotten. And I mean, I asked you, do you think that has anything to do with Bam being tired after the 83-point game and 2 weeks? And I neglected to mention, and shouldn't have, that all of the teams that they've played over that time are very good offenses. They're very good teams and very good offenses, and they've dragged the Heat. So it was nice last night to see them slow down Philadelphia some, because Philadelphia can put 140 on you in a hurry. And Philadelphia, that first quarter is back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it seemed to me that Joel Embiid was exhausted the rest of the game.
Yeah, and then he absolutely just ground them down. If you look at it, every quarter, Philly's offense got worse and worse and slower. And this is what I talked about yesterday. This is how Miami wins games. You're not going to win games outscoring the opposition because you don't have the talent that they have. You've got to make it ugly. You've got to pull it down into the mud, which is all Eric Spoelstra cliches that I'm saying right here. But that's where they get it, because you don't have the roster talent or roster depth to play any other way and be successful.
Are you in agreement with me that this late in the season, a season that is too long, with a organization that regards itself as the process and has little to show for it other than this player who misses half the games? 5 minutes into the game, he's walking up and down the court. 5 minutes into the game.
I mean, I think that's testament to the guy's not right physically. And I think, that's kind of been the thing that we've all been eyeing all season long is, hey, as they move or appear to move to a more Tyrese Maxey-centered offense, how much from Joel do you need in order to be successful? Do you need him to be the Joel that he was when he was MVP, or does he just need to be opportunistic?
The thing with Embiid last night was that he really, after the first quarter, was only operating at the perimeter. He was only shooting jumpers, and then late in the game, he hits a 3 to go up 107-103 and starts blowing kisses at the crowd, and then immediately has a lazy box out of the wrong guy with one arm, and Bam gets a tip slam, and that was 107-105. The Heat win 119-109.
Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong. Bam always gives him problems, right?
Bam is 8-2 against Embiid in the regular season.
He always has problems with Bam's activity and Bam's mobility. He forces him to move and run around a lot more than he would like to.
That game was meant to grind him down, and he was spent by the end. I will also say that Embiid, because of his size, also bothers Bam. Bam, it is fairly rare to see Bam go into the post and get stopped by a single person without the need for a double because he can back so many people in. Joel Embiid is going to be what come playoff time? I mean,
that's the $1 million question, right? Or I guess 150, whatever, however much money he makes. The idea is that, again, can we carry the Sixers? Can we carry an offense without having to rely on him other than in opportunistic moments? Last night is a great example of probably a night where it's like, I kind of want my other guys to be stepping up and for Joel to kind of just focus on rim protection and rebounding and all those things because, as I said, Bam gives him problems. Come playoff time, obviously it gets a little different. You're not doing back-to-backs. You're not traveling as much. So you've got some time to rest and reevaluate what's happening. But ultimately, with the Sixers, I've fallen for this movie about 4 or 5 times now. If they're not healthy, then there's no point in kind of trying to project how well they're going to do in the playoffs.
And Paul George looked great last night. Coming back from his 25 games off, his body looks right. And Edgecombe and Maxey, those guys were really good. Their energy was there. But the reason the Heat won last night was because they had more energy. And that was on the second night of a back-to-back. They were getting all the loose balls. They were getting all the offensive rebounds. And I believe they had 30 fast break points in a game where the Sixers only had 6 live ball turnovers. That's a major stat discrepancy.
the youth of the Sixers, not named Embiid and Paul George. It was fun to watch them on alley-oops at the rim. The way that game started offensively made me think that the whole thing was going to be played like that 157-137 Bulls-Sixers game the other day. Here's Jaime Jaquez in the locker room afterward giving the credit to Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo, saying this is the best halftime he's been a part of.
Just reminds this team what we're capable of. We really lock in and commit to one another. Thought everyone really came together at halftime. It was great.
What happened at halftime? Because Spo was saying too, halftime kind of turned you guys up a notch for the second half.
Yeah, man, halftime happened. It was great, man. It was one of our best halftimes ever. I want to say since I've been here at least. Tyler and Bam really brought us together during that time for sure.
Well, it's about time because am I wrong when I say that the Heat are notoriously bad in the third quarter?
We were talking about this yesterday. Yeah, it's the third quarter. Every team has one of these. It's not an explicable thing. It is a totally random, stupid thing.
Okay, but it's true.
I mean, it is often true. You don't notice it when it's not true.
Right. The stats reflect that the Heat do give up double-digit leads more than your average NBA team.
Which is weird because Spo, everybody would agree, is the best coach in the league or top 2 or 3.
Not more than your average team in the league. More than any team in the league over the last 2 years, they give up double-digit leads. But they do it in the fourth quarter, too. It's not just in the third.
But not last night, Dano. They were able to come back and win that one. They also have the best first quarter offense in the league, so you have more double-digit leads to work with than most other teams.
They had one last night in the first quarter when they scored whatever it was, 38 points, and then had 58 at the half. And I heard Scalabrine on the broadcast saying, yeah, every once in a while, this team just puts up those quarters in the teens out of nowhere where they're 1 for 9 from 3. And, oh, look, they're letting Pelle Larsson shoot as much as he wants wide open, and they're not making any of them.
It's almost like going minus 17 in the 6 minutes without Bam is a problem for them.
After a blank space on the calendar, Formula One is back in Azerbaijan despite its reputation for tight corners and narrow roads. F1 is putting a sprint race in Baku. On Saturday, Charles Leclerc is fearless in pole position as the sprint begins. But at the start, London boy George Russell delivers some karma to Max Verstappen, making him a move to push him wide. Max is red, but George says, don't blame me. Number 22, Yuki Tsunoda clips the wall and loses a tire after just 2 laps. At the restart, Sergio Perez has a lead with 5 laps left. It's time to go. Checo wins the sprint race, but Max and George have bad blood when the race ends. You guys see what I'm doing yet? Will there be vigilante shit on Sunday?
This
Max,
is amazing.
You need to calm down because it's lights out and away we go in Baku. Sparks fly, and Verstappen is driving like he's in a getaway car and pulls out into the lead. Long story short, Nick DeVries has a glitch and a safety car ensues. Perez is in the lead after a slew of pit stops, but he's not out of the woods yet. The one driver, Max Verstappen, has speed, but that's when Sergio Perez says, bye-bye, baby. As the race ends, Esteban Ocon goes into the pit, but the mastermind race organizers have let press onto the treacherous pit lane. This is why we can't have nice things. 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton finishes 6th. The last great American dynasty, Haas, finishes out of the points, but today was a fairy tale for Sergio Perez. Verstappen finishes in 2nd, which is better than revenge. 1-2 for Red Bull is nothing new. They don't have champagne problems on the podium, but the anti-hero Max Verstappen is only ahead in the Drivers' Championship by 6 points. Fernando Alonso and Taylor Swift rumors are swirling. Long live Formula One. Max Verstappen has won the Drivers' Championship, but we still have 4 races to go. In Austin, Daniel Ricciardo rides a horse named Horsey McHorseface into the paddock. Zach Brown accuses Christian Horner of cheating, and Fort Lauderdale's own Logan Sargent will join Williams in 2023. During quali, Carlos Sainz takes the fastest lap while his teammate Charles Leclerc takes a grid penalty. Martin Brundle gets snubbed by Brad Pitt. Tim Apple doesn't know how to wave a flag. 440,000 people are at the Circuit of the Americas. It's lights out and away we go. On turn 1, Max Verstappen gets ahead of Carlos Sainz, and Sainz tries to recover, but gets hit by George Russell. The Spaniard is out of the race before the 1 lap is even over, and Russell takes a 5-second penalty. Valtteri Bottas' race ends early, and a safety car helps out Charles Leclerc for once. Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll get in a massive collision, and debris is everywhere. Lewis Hamilton on hard tires leads the race with 10 laps to go, but the Flying Dutchman cannot be beat this year. It's Verstappen, Hamilton, and Leclerc. Sebastian Vettel battles to the finish in his final USGP. Baby Lando finishes 6th, and Yuki gets a point. Red Bull wins the Constructors' Championship for the first time in 10 years, a day after their founder's passing. People are crying, there's champagne flowing, fireworks are popping off. Everything is bigger in Texas, Dan, except for F1 drivers.
I guess it's time for the F1 minute here, even though I want to hear that sound
gave it
again.
away?
Je suis stressé pour les minutes de Formule 1. J'ai besoin d'énergie. Énergie.
Let's go,
Wait for the
energy.
beat drop.
Oh, energy.
Bonjour et bienvenue à Circuit Paracas pour le Grand Prix de France. Les températures élevées sur le circuit signifient que la gestion des tout va être essentielle. Charles Leclerc, le pilote automobile monégasque, fait passer à Max Verstappen pour la première place. Le pilote Ferrari doit gagner pour rester dans les...
On this episode of the Alley Oop, Caitlin Clark, why are you lying?
Also, referees, get it together right now. And my boy Jalen Rose makes his acting debut, and we break it down. Lock in.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Chris has a young child, and he is at home with her. Roy and Tony and Mike have young children. So can you guys get for me that video that I believe will be traumatizing to children of a certain age, but I'm not familiar enough with what are the ages that would get traumatized by something like this. I'm thinking, Tony, is your daughter old enough to...
My daughter's 15 months tomorrow, so she wouldn't give a rat's ass about this.
Okay, so Roy, would Claire be upset by this video? Olaf from Frozen here, if she is a fan of Frozen, as I imagine most kids are. Play this video of Olaf, and for the audio audience, I will let you know that it's a robotic Olaf. It seems to be talking, and then a heart attack, as far as I could tell. Just total...
Una embolia.
Right, and then all of a sudden the carrot nose falls off in a way that I would believe to be the greatest of the trauma. But the thing that's jarring about it is the instant paralysis, because it's moving like a robot, it's moving like it's animated, and then it freezes and it's seizure. It's clear seizure there, and then falls over with the clacking sound, falls on its back, and then its nose falls off.
It's met with yells and gasps.
I mean, how could it not be? It's horrifying.
It's the eyes for me. It's the fact that it's talking, it's moving its arms, it's looking at people, and then suddenly, eyes freeze, fall backwards. Hey, Frozen.
Frozen is, yes, Olaf. That's how you would explain it to the child, correct? Don't worry, it's just Olaf was frozen, and you're not going to say heart attack, seizure. You're not
embolia.
You're going to say, what are you going to say about the carrot nose? Because
yeah, that's rough.
For those of you who do not know Frozen and can't see the video, Olaf is just the sort of stereotypical snowman where he's got a carrot for a nose. And that's basically the whole snowman. It's a couple of buttons. The snowman's real easy in terms of taking care of fun stuff. It is second only to the stick in terms of the least amount of things that you need in order to play with. The stick is in the Toy Hall of Fame, I should mention. You can't play that enough. Please keep playing the sound, though, because Olaf falling on his back, seizing.
The plastic thud.
It's just horrifying. So what
horrifying.
age do you have a trauma that a child is going to have nightmares? Because it sounds like Mike and Roy, their daughters are too old, and it sounds like Tony's is too young to be traumatized by this.
I think it all depends on the kid, Dan. I mean, like my kids, when they were of that age, they would have laughed. That's how they would have just cackled laughing. But clearly from this video, I can hear someone in the back go, like, here, listen.
It's jarring. It really is. I'm unsettled by it.
It is unsettling no matter what.
It really is.
What is the most unsettling part? Because I'm going to say it's the carrot being 5 feet beyond the head after the screaming, clacking sound and, kids being whisked away. The thing that's greatest about it, though, is the mouth is moving, and then when the seizure strikes, it is clear to all involved that this is now an inanimate object and something is deeply wrong. Like when the mouth stops moving, you notice the seizure in his face.
Yeah, I think the dismemberment, the loss of the nose, is what really gets me. I'm trying to picture explaining that to my granddaughter. It's like explaining why is Santa Claus holding a bottle of scotch. It's just jarring. It's jarring. Even if you, like, my 8-year-old granddaughter, she looks at that, she realizes that's a robot. She's like, that's not a real snowman. But it's still jarring. It's still unsettling. I would be the one gasping in the background if I were watching that live.
It does look, though, when you watch the video, like the NFL trainers when someone is concussed, like getting down on one knee right there and just checking in and
Hey, buddy,
asking,
how you
not
feeling?
touching.
You okay?
Make sure they're
How many fingers
they're
I got?
not potentially paralyzed. We go down, we get
Where
on
are
one
we?
knee, and we look at them. Okay, all right, are they doing okay?
What day is
And
it
one
today?
knee, look, how are we doing? Okay, now you can go in and help. And, of course, the second person that comes in grabbing Olaf by the crotch isn't exactly wonderful either. It's not a great look.
I think it would have been funny if they would have started applying CPR. That would have been just an added touch that would have been really special.
Who knew the nose was so lightly put onto the face, right? You
I
figured
feel
that'd
like
be screwed on,
No,
right?
I feel like everyone knows that with a snowman. If the most authentic snowmen do not have mechanical parts, they don't have
like, couldn't
wiring.
you stick the carrot in there nice and,
Yeah, you're right. It should have some roots and some depth. I think that Greg's got the analogy wrong, though. It's not Santa holding a bottle of scotch. It's Santa holding a severed human head. Like it's something. The dismemberment you speak of that has the carrot nose 7 feet in the background as paramedics, one of them dressed as a jester of some sort, paramedics tend to the snowman. That is quality video. Keep it behind Tony. The rest
I wouldn't
of the
say
show.
jester. I'd say part of the king's court.
Thank you for doing that.
Because jester, implies the little hat and
Yes.
bells and whatnot. He's more of like a duke in the court of some sort.
An earl of some
An
sort.
earl, yeah.
Yes,
a lord.
Earl.
Are we sure he's not one of the princes in Frozen?
Could be a
I think he
prince,
might be
yeah.
a prince.
Was there a prince in Frozen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not the hero, though. There was Sven, who was like the hero, who was walking around with the reindeer that would talk. The prince was actually the bad guy. Spoiler alert.
Yes,
and that was quite the
princes
okey
often
doke.
are. Prince of Denmark.
Isn't that kind of a Disney stereotype that the prince is always impossibly good looking, but also arrogant and
Sometimes.
Sometimes they turn this one on its head.
Like a Sleeping Beauty.
Where you
he
wanna-
goes and kisses her, wakes her up.
You want to believe in the love story, even though it moves way too quickly. And then they pull the rug out from under you and like, oh, that's actually the bad guy the entire time.
Also, how could you not be arrogant if your name was literally Prince Charming? I love it. It was like it was meant to be.
I can't believe that Roy did not tell me. I learned this from a friend of mine who used to be someone who ran the Vegas Knights, and he was explaining to me that he liked the recent hire that the Vegas Knights had made.
It ain't the United States of Tortorella.
He's back. He's a jerk, and people like that as their coach. And I wanted to ask the rest of you why that is, because I was making fun of my friend. I was like, you would not want Tortorella as your boss.
It ain't the United States of Tortorella.
Why do you want your players, people you ostensibly, care about, to have this bully in charge?
It ain't the United States of Tortorella.
I'm curious Roy's thoughts here because Bruce Cassidy was a hard ass, right? Yeah. Usually when the players do, and the Vegas Knights have had a terrible season for them. They're still in playoff position because they're benefiting from a weak division, but they're not beating bad teams. It seems as though Cassidy's act is finally worn thin.
Yeah, they tuned him out last year, and now this is the final straw. It's just interesting them doing it with 8 games left.
Right, but usually when you replace the hard ass, you go players coach. You don't go from hard ass to harder ass.
Can you guys find for me why it is that it's a hard ass? Why someone who, we all know what you're saying there, but I'm not totally sure why we all know what it is that you're saying.
Damn, because we all love a soft ass.
Somebody who's a hard ass, Tortorella, in hockey circles, where is he? How close is he to the top of the list on guy you bring in if you want to just kick your team's ass? Somebody that nobody's going to like, and maybe he motivates them, maybe he doesn't. Look, man, the Dallas Stars did this with Hitchcock. There are any number of teams that love doing this with the guy who's unreasonable, but Tortorella's the top of the list, is he not?
Yeah, the guy that he replaced is actually kind of up there. Berube's another guy, which that didn't work out for the Leafs at all. But, yeah, there are a couple of these old-school hard asses. It works if you have an undisciplined team and you come in. Coach Q is another guy that is considered a bit of a hard ass, and Anaheim's had a lot of success this year.
When you guys say that, though, it's a large umbrella, right? If I told you guys, any of you, that coming in tomorrow to straighten out our outfit is somebody who's got a little bit of military sergeant in him and is known throughout the industry as a hard ass, nobody here would want it, correct? There's not a person here who would want it for themselves, no matter how sloppy and disorganized we are, who would want to know that the boss coming in is a hard ass. Nobody's going to say, oh, I think the company needs it. I think we need it.
This is team number 5 for John Tortorella since he left Tampa in 2013.
Dan, I'm going to disagree, man, because there are a lot of athletes that actually respond a lot better to a hard ass. Draymond Green is a great example. Steve Kerr, when he first started coaching, he's like, I don't know how to get through to the guy. He called Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo says, oh, he just wants you to cuss him out. That's how he wants you to coach him. And so whenever we see Steve Kerr and Draymond Green nose to nose yelling at each other, yelling and shouting and stuff, a lot of people are like, oh, trouble in paradise. Like, no, that's Steve Kerr just adjusting his leadership style to apply to a guy who responds best to that kind of coaching.
It ain't the United States of Tortorella.
I think in general, though, you want the medium ass. You know, you don't want the drill sergeant over here, and you don't want the soft players coach over here. You want the guy who kind of combines both elements, the medium ass. I just invented that phrase.
I like that phrase a lot, Greg.
Yeah.
I think Paul Maurice kind of ventures into medium ass territory.
I think he does, too. I think that's a great analogy.
In professional football, who's a medium ass, okay? Because we were talking about this the other day when it came to, I don't even remember what we were talking about, players coach. That we were talking about somebody ripping McDaniel, Raheem Mostert ripping McDaniel because he was saying he was too much of a players coach. Andy Reid, to me, I think he is soft ass. I don't think he's medium ass.
Soft ass players coach. I think the perfect medium ass in the NFL is Mike Vrabel because he comes from that Belichick tree.
Oh, you don't think that's a hard ass?
Because his players adore him because he's not too far removed from playing too, so he knows what it's like.
Tomlin's a hard ass and his players adore him. You can be Amin's point is the correct one in that some of these environments are vastly different than our environment. A creative environment can be sensitive, can be fragile. Some players do appreciate, and when they get out into the real world, they don't like that the real world is less honest than the locker room. They don't like that people won't just criticize them because you're not growing and learning unless you're having things around you that prod you into a better place. But I do think that can be done with kid gloves as much as with, iron fists.
Creatives hate the hard ass. It's why anytime there's a hard ass involved in the talk show circuit, someone on the staff runs the Vanity Fair and can't wait to complain and air all the dirty laundry.
Medium ass, Sean McVay.
You think? I think he's more players coach as well. Like I think there is a version of coach in these sports who has realized that generationally there have to be multiple ways to reach a 20-year-old. Not everyone is Draymond Green. You have to do it individual to individual. But I do think someone like McVay wouldn't puff out his chest about I'm leader, I'm in charge. He would view himself as an ally. My job here, did you guys see what happened with the management of the 49ers as it relates to Ayuk, where Shanahan's like, and John Lynch, both like, that's it. He's playing his final game here, and the owner wanders over. He's like, hold on a second. Talented players are hard to get. He might still have some value. And now he's publicly saying something different. The coach has to be an ally to some of these guys, and Shanahan is fed up because he's like, I can't reach this guy. I physically can't reach him. I can't get him on the phone to find out if he's going to show up for work, and that is something that I can't trust in my environment. But the owner doesn't have to deal with that. The owner says, my job is just to create a place where I'm putting a bunch of good football players in a room, and then we create the organization that serves those football players so that they become better football players.
To me, I mean, this whole organization is dying for like a Pablo treatment. I'm so fascinated by the San Francisco 49ers and have been for years because I dating back to his coordinator days when he was in Cleveland, it seemed like he was the only guy that knew what he was doing over there. Kyle Shanahan, to me, is like cream of the crop. But they have all these injuries. There's this electrical substation. The Ayuk thing is weird. They seem to have great leadership with John Lynch. They're always right there, but they can't win the big one. They have like guys that George Kittle, Hall of Famer. Fred Warner, Hall of Famer. And they're trying to do this with Mr. Irrelevant at quarterback. It's a fascinating team.
Trent Williams, Hall of Famer. McCaffrey, Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, exciting whites all around the field. It's a fascinating team.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do the San Francisco 49ers lead the league in exciting whites? The Brandon Ayuk situation is a really unusual one. A guy gets his guaranteed money and then just stops showing up and becomes such a problem that they take his guaranteed money, which is not something, or they're trying to take his guaranteed money. You're not allowed to take the guaranteed money unless someone's behavior is egregious. You wouldn't even think to do that because of the harm it would bring you with future guaranteed contracts, because you're now the organization that takes back guaranteed money. To Mike's point about wanting to know the ins and outs of that organization, I wish one of these insiders would explain to us exactly what the breaking points have been there that make Brandon Ayuk think it's okay to just stop showing up for anything at work after you've gotten your guaranteed money. The jobs, let's transition here to Jaden Ivey, because I want to talk about how rare it is to get and have these jobs and what you have to do to lose them. Because at this point, the Chicago Bulls could put anybody in a uniform. So going into free agency as Jaden Ivey is, sitting on the bench, getting waived for an assortment of commentary, some of it anti-gay, but all of it filed under religious beliefs and religious beliefs that are more ardent than they were in his previous stops, where the reporting is that many Bulls players and management were getting tired of his sermonizing and preaching. But while he's away from the team for conduct detrimental to the team, he's doing an assortment of live streams where he's feeling a very strong need to tell everybody not only about his religion, not just his depression, not just his love of apple pie, not just his opinions on abortion, but specifically anti-gay commentary filed under the Bible and what he called unrighteousness. And he's saying, what conduct did I do that's detrimental to the team? Well, this is what he's saying, though. He's like, how did I harm the team by having a religious conviction? Now, we can, in this particular group of people, because of what it is that we do around here,
This is not an echo chamber.
Be super easy to just cast a scolding tone here at Jaden Ivey. But there are many people in America, in a divided America right now, divided along religious lines, who would say that Jaden Ivey's conduct isn't detrimental to the team, that he's being persecuted because of his religious beliefs. That's what they will say. That is the framing of whoever it is that's going to now support Jaden Ivey.
Riley Gaines is.
Well, a number of people. Like, he can become a figure now from sports who was too hot for sports because he's too busy telling the truth, and sports can't handle it within the silos that people are now politically, religiously, based on gender, based on sexuality. This is a move that harms him with the Chicago Bulls, but doesn't necessarily harm him with his base.
What base?
What base?
People who believe that homosexuality is wrong because in the Bible you believe what it is that you believe about sexuality and immoralities. He's calling it unrighteousness. There are many people who believe this.
Dan, many people who believe this. I guarantee almost all of them have never heard of Jaden Ivey. And this is, all right, guys, this is when we got to put on our big boy pants because I'm going to be a little too blunt and direct here. He's not good enough to have a controversial opinion of any sort in any direction. So you say this has got him out of the favor of the Chicago Bulls. Buddy, he's done with the NBA forever. You're not good enough to have that kind of a scandal in terms of things that you're saying, again, in any direction, and still come back to work the next day like George Costanza saying, I didn't know there was anything wrong with that.
Yeah, public support of his beliefs is not a smart business model for any sports franchise in America, even in these divided times. But I want to endorse what Amin was just saying. Top 5 pick, and this is not a small sample. He's been in the league now 5 or 6 years, I think. Top 5 pick, hasn't quite panned out, plus those beliefs. This is a business decision. If he had panned out as a top 5 pick and they were intended to re-sign him and extend him,
yes,
they would allow him to do the apology tour. They would not have waived him.
Yes, if he were good, there would be a different set of rules. This would actually be a more interesting conversation if a team was being tested along its ethical lines by somebody who was good enough to cross over into this barrier and keep their job. The easiest move for the Bulls is get out of here. It does not matter who's in our uniforms. We don't need this in our uniforms. But when you say he's not good enough, neither's Enes Kanter, and he turned it into a post-basketball career waving around that he was blackballed by the league and too honest for the league.
Enes Kanter, first of all, had, compared to this kid, a Hall of Fame career. That's like night and day as far as someone who was accomplished on a basketball court. Enes Kanter also had an on-ramp because of real persecution that his family was going through back in Turkey. The problem is Enes Kanter was, in my estimation, a guy who liked to hear the crowd cheer. And so what he chased was the cheers. So as he heard right-wing kind of conservative media say, this guy's telling how it is, he's like, what else do they like to talk about? China, and LeBron's afraid of China. And like, yeah. And also, like, and he just kind of was chasing cheers. Again, Enes Kanter, another example of
Enes
a guy.
Enes Kanter freedom.
Sorry, Enes Kanter.
And it should be noted, been quiet lately, to Amin's point.
The thing that he also realized was at some point, this is the opportunity cost that every organization makes. How good is he? Meaning, can I get someone who maybe not be quite as good, but maybe a little bit less as good, but also doesn't come with any of the bullshit antics? Then I'll go with that option.
This is a place that people end up all the time. So give me the tipping point. Give me the guy who's worth this. Where's the line on argument? Because this always becomes the talking point, always, in the face of these conversations. Oh, they wouldn't have done that to guy who was better, or they would have punished more severely guy who was worse. We can all agree the Chicago Bulls are not trying. He's about to become a free agent. Like, this is disastrous. As a business move, disastrous, because Amin just said he talked himself out of the league. He was objecting to Pride Nights, but this is like, he'd fit right in hockey.
Not saying that. Dan, if he were an equivalent level talent as he is in the NBA over in hockey and had that Instagram Live, he'd be waived too. There's not a sport in America where this dude at his talent level would still be on a roster today. Not a sport.
I'm not sure that what you're saying is so about a top 5 pick, only because, okay, in hockey, I've seen a whole lot of objecting to Pride Night, and I do understand how it is that people want their hatreds or their beliefs either expressed their way at sporting events or not at all at sporting events because they just don't want this with their sports. I saw ESPN was being celebrated by Shitstain's coverage because they've run all of the woke journalists out of ESPN. They've successfully done that. They have quietly done that, and it's at least in part because their focus groups show that in protection of the business, it is wiser to get everybody the hell away from anything that resembles social commentary and just throw all the money at live rights and don't have any opinions that are not sports opinions anywhere on your sports network. That side has won, and it has pushed over the worldwide leader so that the worldwide leader is now embracing the climate of the moment by avoiding all of this stuff. Jeremy, where do I have it wrong on hockey in saying that hockey is permeated with a whole lot of people mumbling under their breath about feeling like some of this stuff shouldn't be near the ice?
Because there is a difference between feeling like you are being forced to celebrate the LGBTQ community when that doesn't line up with your beliefs and publicly demonizing that group, railing against them, publicly calling them sinners, and I believe there was another term in there that was unrighteous. That is a different thing than saying, "Hey, I don't want to wear the rainbow uniform." Those are two different things, and it's important to draw those distinctions.
Dan, a couple of things. Number one, what Jeremy is saying, is articulating, is the NHL players or the other athletes who have spoken out, it's usually in a kind of a measured tone. Hey, this doesn't represent my beliefs, whatever. This dude was ranting and raving. By the way, beyond that, he also said Catholicism is a fake religion. He also said Steph Curry is a fake Christian. Oh, just because he wrote Philippians, whatever, doesn't mean he's righteous in the eyes of God. And, he is just like a Looney Tunes character talking. These are not the words of a rational human being, regardless of how hateful his speech is or isn't.
And this has been percolating for quite some time. There are reports that he's basically harassing teammates with his opinions, being very preachy, not worth it. I do want to clean up some of the hockey stuff because I don't think it's fair to even mention them, because what Jeremy says is absolutely right. You don't have anyone that outspoken really in hockey the way that Ivy was, and also you don't have the kind of support in the NBA that you've seen from stars like Connor McDavid and Matthew Tkachuk when it comes to these Pride Nights and rainbow tape and whatnot.
We had the conversation a couple of days ago about Puka Nacua and his mental health and Antonio Brown and what that sport does to people's brains. And obviously in basketball, we're not having that same conversation because it's not the same physicality level. But when I see what Jaden Ivey does on his Instagram Live, it takes me back for a second. 'Cause I'm like, man, is it an episode that he's having, that he's using stuff that he's learned and stuff that he's converted to Christianity, and now that's kind of blending the two worlds together in the midst of an episode? That's something that I look at and I'm like, I see people on the street, homeless people, ranting and raving in the same fashion, and we just walk by them and don't really pay much attention to them.
And you're not taking liberties because Ivy's been upfront about his battles with depression and his own mental strife.
There's a huge difference between having a belief that is unpopular and getting on a soapbox and espousing that belief at the expense of your team's reputation. And that's where Jaden Ivey crossed the line. If he's a particularly religious person who hides behind the shield of his religion to be anti-gay, that's his belief, and he's entitled to it, but you don't have to espouse it. You don't have to become the public face of bigotry and prejudice.
Let me stop everyone here for just a second, because what Tony said about an episode, I will tell you that this, I've had all my thinking on this changed almost entirely by the experience that I had with my brother at the end, where the cancer had gotten to his brain, and there were things happening with episodes that I simply didn't recognize. Okay. I had to go in on behalf of our family years before things really escalated. Okay. Because everyone asked me to go in and say, Dan, please go talk to your brother and tell him that no one can say anything to him, that there's nothing that can be said to him that's not met with an objection. I did that, and my brother didn't talk to me for more than a year. What Tony is saying about episodes And when a guy is going crazy, it's easy to do with Charlie Sheen and Kanye. And some people are, as we mentioned with Puka, some people are just assholes. So it can't be filed under, well, what's going on over here? Is he actually going a little bit crazy? But when you mention an episode, I cannot tell you how ill-equipped sports is to deal with any of this. They only have to deal with it if the player's good enough to force you to deal with it. But I don't know what happened with John Morant. And when behavior is so crazy, like sometimes it's Antonio Brown and you're like, okay, I'm comfortable doing this, but these are just the incidents that spill into public. In the case of Ivy, this is what he's chosen to share with us, but he believes he's being wronged here. Like, be clear on this. He believes he's right and no one can tell him anything because he thinks he's talking to God about it.
So, Dan, this kind of reminds me a little bit of the conversation we had yesterday about Tiger Woods and the idea of expectation and failing to meet expectation and what that can do to someone who's centered their entire identity around being something amazing. In Tiger Woods' case, you said you don't think number 2 is good enough. He said probably not. He probably thinks Dad wanted me to be number 1 and I failed. And some of that stuff manifests in how he handles things. Again, we're not making excuses for any kind of behavior. We're just trying to explain it. So same thing with Jane Ivey. If you were a top 5 pick, like Greg said, and you didn't pan out, like that's got to be some real mind F that's happening upstairs. And then you partner that breaking of your brain with whatever kind of discovery of religion, which a lot of people turn to in times of darkness. And then it depends on who is introducing you to religion, because those people will emphasize certain things. Like he could have fallen with the right crowd, so to speak, and it was about loving one another and all this stuff. Instead, he probably fell with someone who's like, hey, look at the way they walk in this league, sinning left and right, and they've got their pride nights, and this man over here, Steph Curry, is supposed to be a man of God, but he's cussing more than anybody else. Like, all of that stuff is a weak brain that has been infiltrated with whatever manipulative message has come to him. It's not unlike, and I know this is going to make people go crazy, but when you talk about what turns people in certain parts of the world into, like people, suicide bombers or whatever, it's like a broken brain, a broken psyche, and then the person that you turn to for guidance, for help, for support, for direction is someone who does not have a positive message. And that influence can turn someone who otherwise would be a regular person or a down-the-road person into a kind of an extremist.
I wasn't terribly comfortable, even though I understand it, with some of the pop psychology we were doing on Tiger Woods when we talk about some of this stuff that isn't excusing behavior but is attempting to explain the behavior. The reason that I have never tried cocaine is because I know where it is. I'm addictive and I am compulsive, and I do not want to enter into one choice I make that then affects all other choices after that, because now I don't have control over something. Do you believe in the case of Tiger Woods, giving the specifics of what it is that he had to sculpt to be great, right? The loneliness of golf, the meticulous attention to detail. Wouldn't you think that that is someone who's sort of predisposed to obsessive compulsive patterning? We are all a product of our learning, our environments, our experiences, our influences, all of this stuff. Would you not think that a personality type that had to do whatever Tiger Woods had to do in order to be great would be someone who would be predisposed to being, at the very least, obsessive compulsive?
Yes, especially knowing everything we now know about his father and their relationship. Tiger Woods, this is worth remembering. Tiger Woods, for about a 5 or 7 year period, was so good that you could bet the field or Tiger Woods, and a lot of people would bet Tiger Woods over the field that he was going to win that tournament. And he did more than just win and win and win and win majors. He revolutionized the sport. But that was what was expected by his father. That was what was expected. That was, and so he wasn't good
ordained, prophesized by his father. The first major article on Tiger Woods was how his father was going to turn him into a god. The first thing written when he was a teenager, and then much of those things ended up coming true.
Yeah, and so falling just short of Jack Nicklaus on the all-time major table was not good enough for Tiger, and it still isn't. And now he's turned 50, and he's got demons are apparent.
So what do you think the audience is feeling as we talk about this? Is it for the wrongdoing, right? For the crowd that says, hey, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, show me what a man looks like, and man up. Don't talk to me about weaknesses of a fragile brain damaged by manic episodes. Don't talk to me about the weaknesses of addiction. Will your way beyond these things and behave like a professional.
I think the audience probably has fatigue, honestly, because this is the way that this is playing out is super predictable. It's entering the political sphere, and you're just consumed by the same stuff that you're always consumed by in this weird culture war. It's just weird. Sports are the ultimate meritocracy. Right? Kaepernick is invoked so often because Kaepernick made it to a Super Bowl, and he was very clearly blackballed. Not everybody is under a Colin Kaepernick-like plight. Enes Kanter Freedom wasn't, and certainly this bust of a draft pick isn't. For all the DEI projection, it's exactly that, projection. Because this guy is flatly just not good enough to be in the league on his own merit. And when you add the fact that he's making everybody in the office uncomfortable and is having really unpredictable episodes on social media and in the workplace, this is an easy decision.
I'm going to tell you right now, as a guy who's been in locker rooms, nobody wants to, doesn't matter even if I agree with you on your religious takes, nobody likes that guy. Nobody likes that guy. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. And so, one of the things, they said contradiction.
Did you do that on purpose? Jesus Christ.
Conduct detrimental to the team. It's like, oh, ask my teammates. My teammates all love me or whatever. I'm like, they can like you, but they can also be sick and tired of you coming around and trying to talk this stuff over and over.
To be fair, he did break his leg last year and has been rehabbing and trying to get back to it. It's like that points to a physical situation where he hasn't been his best.
Amin saying that a top 5 pick who's been in the league 5 years, which would put him at roughly his prime, right? He's not an old player. He's not 30 yet, correct?
24, 23,
right.
24, something like that.
He can still have a good career in Europe.
So, but Amin's saying this is a death sentence. Amin is saying this will not return to basketball. That right before heading into free agency, he just sealed his fate as he will never work in the league again.
I think there's a couple of things there. Number one is, like I said, basketball-wise, had not shown enough to be good enough. He had a good year or so in Detroit. He's been a very injury-prone player in his career. Number two, again, this is some wild, over-the-board stuff. Like I said, we're focusing on the anti-LGBTQ, but again, he called out Steph Curry. He called out LeBron James. He called out the religion of Catholicism. He's sprayed across a wide map of all different targets and groups of people who are going to be pretty upset. Number three, Dan, like we've all pointed out, he does not seem to be of sound mind. And that's probably should be number one. It's like, I can't bring someone into my locker room who does not have it all there. There's a level of kind of wild card we'll deal with, and then there's a point where it's like, no, this guy can do anything. This guy, whenever you have someone who's invoking God like that in the way and saying that his mission is to spread and all that stuff, it's like, yo, man, I'll tell you, the next thing that comes up usually is violence. Because when people don't want to come along with you on that ride, it's like, hey, I'm going to force you on that ride with me. You can't trust a guy like that. And so for that reason, he won't play here. I don't even know if he'll play. Mike made a joke about him maybe playing in Europe. I don't know if he'll play there.
His mom is also the coach at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Like that part is what's crazy about this. But
the anti-Catholic takes are even stranger now.
That's what I'm saying. This is someone who is clearly mentally ill and using Christianity as a muse for his mentally ill ramblings, because you have someone here who is using the Bible in a way it's not intended to be used. I'm a Jewish person, but from what I understand about Christianity, there's a lot more time spent on poverty and greed and things like that than the bare mentions of homosexuality within the Bible. And yes, some people are going to use that as a means to then go ahead and be homophobic, but It's really just punching down on a marginalized people. It's cowardly to do so, and of course, to be able to see it all happen through the musings of someone who is mentally ill. It's no different than someone who grasps onto QAnon or anything else. It's using something as a mask for your mentally ill ramblings.
Okay, but while he suffers from depression, you do understand, right? Why we get no closer to a bridge on this stuff when he's saying, these are my religious beliefs. This is who I am. This is my relationship with God. This is how I think about gay people. And you dismiss that, which he thinks is reasonable, as mentally ill. Right.
But that's because that is like flatly not the tenet of the religion on its own. Like people who use Christianity or Judaism or Islam or anything to rail against a certain group of people are not following the tenets of said religion.
Right, but that doesn't make them necessarily mentally ill. I'm willing to explore the idea of this being an episode. I'm not willing to say flatly that this is mental illness.
I can't say anything flatly these days. I feel comfortable calling this race when you consider all the behavior for such a long time. Dan, some people are worth the discourse, and some people are just a crazy guy outside of Ultra telling you you're going to go to hell. Nobody likes that guy.
7:30 Wednesday night, Game 3 here in the Heat's house. Guys, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
Oh my gosh, Jeremy Taché doing that on one tank of oxygen.
Not a single breath taken. He was like one of those free divers that go down for 20 minutes at the bottom of the ocean. It was a record. And if you're listening just by audio and not watching, what you didn't see in that noise is there were 11 actual babies tossed in the air. Just infants.
Seems
that were
reckless.
It does, but hey, it's game 2.
Right.
Wait till game 7 of this thing.
Right.
11 babies, a fetus.
It's not going 7. I said 5. I mean,
That's right.
You did mention that.
Yeah.
The energy was actually insane. I don't remember any of that. I feel like I blacked out as that happened. It sounded like I was losing my voice. I wasn't losing my voice. I literally was just unhinged. I don't remember it. It was really amazing.
You blacked out. Excellent work by you, blacking out as a impartial observer of games.
Well, you can't be impartial if you're holding a microphone that says Heat TV.
My job
Right.
is sales
and
in that.
high-fiving
You're
people.
emceeing.
Yeah.
Emceeing is really sales.
I'm
right.
there.
Yeah.
I'm there to make sure everybody's ready to be at games 3 and 4. I'm there to make sure that everybody is ready to be at the road rally. Bally Sports, the heart of the fan.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Would the Zeller minutes look the same if you replaced him with a newborn giraffe?
Or that newborn baby that was being hoisted into the air.
The giraffe would just be more distracting. I feel like we'd have more success.
No,
It'd be
Zeller's plenty distracting.
Porter
He's right
Jr.
now.
would be like, why is there a giraffe on the court?
No. Listen to me. Zeller is a strong human being. He is a big human being. And when he starts balling around there.
I can't take my eyes off of him.
Well, no, nobody can. Nobody can. Jokic, you're hoping to distract Jokic. It's dangerous. It's like having a wrecking ball just move through the court, but it's like on a hinge that's not safe, and it's just swinging through, and you got to be careful because every once in a while they'll put one in with an offensive rebound, but everyone be careful because it might fly into the stands. The Zeller minutes are amazing. Yeah. They're a joy to watch.
Oh. Ever since Tony pointed it out, those black shoes, they don't
it's
help.
The hair or lack of hair too. It's kind of disturbing.
No, it's also the mask, or just again. I've mentioned that it should be a retainer, a wire that runs outside of his mouth. It's just
like
all
ear to ear
that could impale someone.
And if not for a Theragun, that could be Dwayne Dedman.
Jeremy becomes Jeremy.
Okay, so we got a bear here stumbling around. You see that mirror to the left. He's like, oh, this is weird. There's a lot of weird stuff here. Oh, my God. I just saw myself. Ah! He's like, get out of here. So that's how I imagine a bear would react if they saw Jeremy in the woods.
But that's what they would do to me.
It's really screwed up to do that to a bear, honestly. He's just like not expecting, just like having a nice stroll.
Right.
And just, we'll watch it one more time. This is good fun. Good, clean fun right here.
It really is.
He's just like, oh, my God.
And then he's going,
He was definitely
a good-looking bear.
Definitely scarred from that for a few months.
Who puts a mirror in the woods?
It's weird.
That's my question.
How did it get there?
It was probably for the internet video. They probably did that on purpose.
Yeah, but you're messing with bears. I mean,
it's not right.
Leave the bear alone.
Who would do something for the internet visually like that with a bear?
Imagine that.
What are the chances there was a camera right in front of it, too? Jeez. Small world.
Greg, it was interesting. A bunch of people agreed that you had a weekend where the Eagles lost, the Niners lost, so no more undefeated teams. 72 Dolphins could celebrate. But a lot of people saying the Dolphins were the best team in the NFL through 6 weeks. And so I know you're impressed with the offense. Hawk was in here yesterday, Andrew Hawkins, Tomahawk Podcast. He said that Tyreek Hill is the best player, non-quarterback division, in the NFL. And I agree with him. The Dolphins are overwhelming. I'm not certain they're not the best team in the NFL right now, Greg.
I think they are at this minute. They're an underdog in Philadelphia, but only by 2.5 points, which is very interesting. Definitely they have the best offense. I think it's the best offense in Dolphins history. And when I write that, I get a lot of criticism. Too soon. What about this? What about that? Look, the Dolphins won Super Bowls with Larry Zonka because they ran the ball better than anybody and barely passed. They were as exciting as ever and broke NFL records with Dan Marino because they passed the ball like nobody else, but they didn't have a great running game.
Right.
Now they're doing both. They can run the ball like crazy. They lead the league in rushing. Raheem Mostert has 11 touchdowns in 6 games. And Tua is everything they thought he would be when they drafted him number 5 ahead of Herbert. Tua is the favorite in the MVP odds right now.
Should be.
With great reason.
Yep.
And I just think this is the most dynamic, well-balanced, inventive, exciting offense I've ever had.
Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day.
This stat of the day is presented by MoneyLion. Download the MoneyLion app or visit moneylion.com to learn more. MoneyLion, make money easy. This stat comes courtesy of NCAA buzzer beaters. For the 5th time in women's NCAA tournament history, all 4 number 1 seeds have reached the Final Four. Even crazier than that, though, not a single one of those number 1 seeds had a game decided by 10 points or fewer on their path to Phoenix. I mean, I've been watching this tournament for like the last 2 rounds. Number 1, Blanca Quinones for UConn. That's a good player.
Really?
Incredible.
UConn's
Ecuadorian.
pretty good. UConn's pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. So good, in fact, that South Carolina, we'd all agree, good team.
Great team.
But yeah, before this tournament started, I couldn't believe my eyes when I looked at DK Sportsbook because you could lock them in at plus 850.
Yeah.
They're a number 1 seed, perennial title favorite. They're plus 600 now?
They're plus 600 after last night. By the way, 6 straight Final Fours for South Carolina. That's the 3rd longest streak in NCAA history, men's or women's.
A number of things to clean up here because there's news breaking. Olivier Roux, the Florida 7'9" center, has entered the transfer portal. He's available to all. There's a 7'9" sophomore. Oh, look at Tony shaking his head. Grande por gusto.
Yeah, una statua. A statue.
Yeah, he can't play.
If you're 7'9" and not a top 50 recruit, you're stiff.
Taco Bell.
He is literally a stiff. That 7'9" doesn't move around very well. What are you smiling about?
I would take him in a heartbeat if I were almost any coach in the league who thinks I'm good enough to turn 7'9" into something.
I mean, he couldn't get on the floor. He's much slower and he's much more rigid than everyone out there. He just can't play.
Well, he couldn't get on the floor for a very good team. It doesn't mean he can't get on the floor for a team that's 13-18 and bringing in a new coach. I'm just saying there are dozens of major college programs who need to take a shot on this kid because every coach who's worth his salt thinks that he can turn around the guy that nobody else can help. And maybe they can. I would, if I were a college team, 7'9", damn right I'd take a chance on this transfer.
Put it on the poll. Yeah, Air Cement Nikes. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is the 7'9" sophomore still physically growing?
Yeah.
If you're a sophomore in college, aren't you still growing?
So he's 19, right? Is he
young.
19?
Yeah.
Okay. Who thinks any 19-year-old is fully formed? He can get quicker. He can be taught to play at his height.
It's a weird endorsement of the 7'9" stiff.
A dry cleaning rack cannot get.
He can be more agile, right?
Florida tried him in 2 sports. He wasn't good enough at either. But one last thing on the women's tournament. Are we finally going to get good games in this Final Four? I've watched all 4 of these teams play. Jaime Jaquez's sister plays for UCLA. They're all super good. The tournament's proven that. But are we going to get like these clash of titans, or is it just going to be UConn running through the entire competition?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, first of all, TCU last night was a good game up until their best player got hurt, and then, like, South Carolina just beat them on it in attrition. But, yeah, no, I think you've reached a point now where these are all elite programs. These are all elite teams. And, by the way, 3 out of the 4, was it, were in the Final Four last year? Mm-hmm. So it's like there's a continuity there where I think we're going to get good games, but this also highlights kind of what I've been talking about for women's college basketball for a while, which is the haves and the have-nots, the gap is so big.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's so hard for a Cinderella story to happen in women's college basketball the way it does on the men's side.
What happened with NIL in that sport is really interesting because around 2022, 2023, you did have Cinderellas. Hell, Miami made an Elite Eight and gave Kim Mulkey and LSU a good game in that tournament. You had these programs that were, I guess, on the forefront of NIL, and you had all these legacy programs that just thought the logo would do the recruiting. And it took them like a season and a half to realize, oh, okay, I guess we have to dedicate the resources even though we're Kentucky, even though we're UConn women's. And now we're getting back to a day and age where it's like the mid-'90s. You had Tennessee, Louisiana Tech, and UConn, and then everybody else is have-nots.
Well, everyone says that Gino Auriemma's this team is the most overwhelming that you have seen in the modern era.
Dan, I got to tell you, like watching South Carolina last night, all I could think of was LSU a couple of years ago and how I was like, why are they guarding Caitlin Clark like this? And you guys go, well, Kim Mulkey's a da-da-da. I'm like, that doesn't mean she's making the right decision out there. Contrast with South Carolina last night, and I'm like, this is a machine. They are executing so well on every single play. I could tell what the first, second, and third read was, and there was no hesitation at all. These ladies, were playing the game plan to a T. And so when you talk about UConn and Gino Auriemma and how overwhelming they are, this is going to be a great example of execution versus talent to me. Because for South Carolina to be plus 600, obviously it's the only team with minus is UConn, right? This tells me, like, okay.
well put as a gambler. The only team with minus.
Yes, I'm notorious gambler, Amino Hassan. But it's going to be the exact example of what we were talking about yesterday, which is like, hey, you can't overcome a massive talent gap, but you can overcome a talent gap with good coaching and good execution.
Tune in for Quinones. Stay for the Fugees bumper music because this tournament nailed it with Ready or Not as its official song.
Thank you to the video team for putting an assortment of failing robots behind Tony. Just keep playing an assortment of failing robots.
Like arresting that robot, like 6 cops behind them, just like carrying him down the stairs.
We have now. Now is the time to laugh at the robots because soon we will no longer be able to do this, and we will look back at this time when we've been imprisoned by them as a reminder of how dumb we were. But, I wanted to keep talking about chalk advancing and what it is that Mike Ryan said about NIL. Because Corey Close, the coach at UCLA, this is one of the powers. This is one of the people who's winning as the distance between the great and the less than great is as large as it was when Auriemma was making his name in that sport with the Rebecca Lobos of the world, and they were just that much more dominant than anyone else. Corey Close says, quote, "I've never been as tired as I've been in the last 2 years, and it's made me think how much longer I can do this. And I'm just being transparent with you about that. There are so many things that are harder, and we keep losing incredible people on the men's and women's side." Now, Jeff Waltz, the Louisville coach, countered with this. And a lot of people countered with some version of this. "I'm friends with Corey. My favorite line I would tell her is, if you don't like your job, find a new one. I'm listening this morning at 4:20 as the workers outside my window at the hotel in the street are working. I mean, you choose your profession. If you don't like it, find a new profession."
That's what many of them are doing, by the way. That a lot of them are. Titans of the game, like champions. Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett ups and quits because he doesn't like it anymore. Down here, we had Katie Meyer be an incredible women's coach for 20 years. And I mean, reached a tournament, advanced to the Elite Eight, historic high watermarks for the program, and just as you think she's finally getting everything together, she walks away from the sport because of the way that it changed.
And there ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
I will judge you for quitting.
No, I won't.
I mean, you got Tony Bennett. I will forever judge. Still a young man.
To me, it's like if you've decided you don't want to put up with these new factors, that's fine. Now, to me, when you start to blame things, it's that's where it becomes problematic. You know, the college coaches I've talked to, you know what they hate more than NIL, what they hate more than the transfer portal, was the realignment because of football. That's what they all hate. It's like we were all in conferences that made sense geographically, and now all of a sudden we're going road trips from Chicago to Los Angeles.
All the time about this in press conferences. The Big Ten, the ACC, credit to the Cal schools because they're actually not doing it because they were kind of in no man's land, but the Big Ten schools do not shut up about this.
I think Corey Close is being more truthful than the coach who says, if you don't like your job, do something else. The complication of college basketball because of the portal and NIL, it's what drove Larinaga into retirement. Now, granted, he was an old guy, but I would not want to be a college basketball coach now in a way that I didn't even consider 5-7 years ago.
Larinaga is an interesting one because he got in the middle of this to the Final Four, and he would be guilty of being what Amin is accusing him of you didn't start complaining about it until you started losing, until you produced a roster that was 7-24 last year with the players that you had, and that's when you started complaining about it. Closer here to the professional football team. I'm going to talk to Jeff Hafley about this on South Beach Sessions, but when I've heard him talk about what his experience was as the head coach of Boston College, he was arriving at his dreams. You know how these coaches live, right? It's 20-hour days. You're doing you know what the lowest levels of this look like. It's 20 hours a day, thanklessly, to get to your dream job. You're running a college program. And you get there and you realize, oh my God, this is gross. I hate this. I don't like who I am. This is foul. I'm dealing all the time with parents and family and money and it's not even just playing time, which could make me plenty unpopular. It's business, but with fewer rules than we've had around business. So the player being empowered laps upon your shoulders with what must be a litany of endless daily headaches that put you to sleep at night and then you can't sleep and you get up in the morning and you've got another endless list of things to get to. I imagine that all of these coaches are dealing with this. The ugliest parts of, it's just a bunch of greedy teenagers.
Yeah, look, any coach who's gone and coached at the pro level and then come back down, they've all seen the light, like, oh, my God. Like, the ability to just focus on basketball, not have to worry about the coaches show and these boosters need to meet and all that. Yeah, it's so much stuff that you have to deal with on the collegiate level. But the trade-off was, I'll tell these little pissants to do whatever I tell them to do, and they got to do it, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And now you've removed that power dynamic. You've basically given the players the same amount of freedoms that a pro player has. You can't coach like that on the pro level. You can't tell, hey, man, you got to do it this way. Like, no, hell no, man. I make more than you do. Well, now you're that at the college level, but you still have to deal with TAs and, like, study halls, and this guy didn't make it. So it's all the bad sides of college, none of the upsides of the pros, and that makes it, I can imagine, to be a difficult thing.
I've spoken to a bunch of agents that rep coaches throughout all the ranks, and they all tell me universal consensus outside of a handful of outliers. We got one of them down here in Coral Gables. Every single coach in football is trying to make it to the pros. Every single one. This is crazy, and there is no real blueprint to fix it. Just Hail Marys.
We're going to get to Greg Cody's Back in My Day in a second here, but I want to relive something from earlier in the show. I don't remember, Greg, how it is, what it is we were talking about specifically, but you were surprised by my question, and the reason I gathered you were surprised by my question is because of how you reacted to it.
It's AI.
He's right.
It wasn't me.
I want to ask you, as the news comes out here on Tiger Woods, the police report has been released, okay? He glanced at his phone when in the car, and the car ahead of him slowed down. So It is a common affliction on the roadways. I don't know if you guys have noticed the sheer number of people texting on the highway, texting at 55, 60, 65, and 70 miles an hour. At Le Batard Show, have you noticed the number of people texting at 70 miles an hour?
I haven't, because I've been looking at my phone.
Yeah.
So he glanced at his phone, and the car ahead of him slowed down. Officers said he was lethargic, slow, and sweating profusely. His eyes were bloodshot, glassy, and extremely dilated. And 2 white pills were in his pocket, hydrocodone, which is pretty strong. I don't know. Can you look up for me if hydrocodone is as strong as Oxycontin, and if it's in the family of stuff, Jeremy? Because 2 white pills in the pocket. I wanted to get back to something that we were discussing yesterday. The first time I was ever introduced to the conversation in sports around addiction, baseball had suspended Steve Howe 5 times, and Tommy Lasorda was going crazy because Darryl Strawberry was suspended. And Tommy Lasorda was speaking for a lot of people when he said of Darryl Strawberry, that's not a sickness, that's a weakness. That was a choice being made. When we talk about yesterday Tiger Woods getting help or needing to get help, when you view everything happening with Tiger Woods, do you guys think he's still making choices for himself on how it is that he's doing this? Or you believe he's addicted to the pain relief medicine that comes after 7 back surgeries? If you had to choose and be right.
Dan, he's choosing not to have a driver. That's a clear one. That's not him high 24/7, not being in his right mind. That's a dude who's choosing not to have a driver, and everything else becomes secondary after that, because if he has a driver, these accidents don't happen. Now, he still has a problem, perhaps, with substances. He still has an underlying problem, like we talked about yesterday, like what puts you in a frame of mind where you feel the need to do this beyond the physical pain. All those things, yes, still exist and still need to be addressed. But at the very least, a driver would solve.
Fair enough, but that's not what I'm talking about here. Yes, that would eliminate some risks involved for himself and others. Anthony Joshua also had a driver. Bad things can happen all over the place for a lot of different reasons. I'm talking, though, specifically sickness or weakness. Where are you on this? Sickness or weakness?
We're not turning this into a first take debate. It's both. I am a firm believer of that. As someone that had a mother that died because they were a drug addict, I see other families and I see other people make the decision that my mother couldn't, which was to really try and get clean, not half measures. So while I understand it's a sickness, I also don't think you can totally absolve somebody of the choices that they make here.
If it's an addiction, the definition is that it's out of his control. Whether it's an addiction to pills or alcohol or some of both, I believe he is incapable right now of behaving. I really do. And when he says he doesn't want a driver because it invades his privacy.
It's also why he didn't want a urine test, because they knew what they were gonna find.
Right. Is it fair to say he's not capable of behaving? I mean, he went to TGL just fine. He's been in social settings, and no one's been like, man, Tiger's a mess.
Well, that just means he's a functioning alcoholic. You know, I mean,
An alcoholic, functional addict.
Functional addict. I mean, addict. Somebody who's out of control of their behavior is capable of having episodes where they're capable of hitting a golf ball into a mat, into a video mat.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't answer the question. Is he high when he's playing golf? I don't know. He just flipped a car in a neighborhood. And I think golfing, like, if he were that level, he wouldn't be flipping a car.
You're pulled over by the police, and you have 2 of these pills in your pocket. Like, you're taken to the station because you have pain medication so readily available that at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Friday, you do not wish to be without it. It's on your person. It's what they find on you when you're sweating profusely, your eyes are dilated, and you guys saw the mugshot. Like, that mugshot.
Which one?
Beyond age, That mugshot was haunting.
Yeah,
Haunting.
incriminating.
No, but just haunting to look at everything that's happening there and to be filled with sadness looking at a man's face when he used to represent vitality. He used to represent youth.
Yeah, and also I think that looking at my phone is the excuse you use that's more palatable than I was hammered. I was out of my mind. You know, I mean.
He did use that too. I mean, there were several other distractions on top of what was in his system.
Oxy, by the way, is 1.5 times more potent than hydrocodone, but hydro stays in your system about twice as long.
So that's called the delayed release.
The long
folks.
release, the extendo.
Yeah. Look, man, there's no easy way to say this, right? In that he's someone who has a massive problem. That's the only way you can say it. You have a massive problem and you need help. Yep. That's it. They're like, regardless of whether it's a choice or a sickness, he has a massive problem and he needs help. And the one thing that he should not be doing until he receives said help is operate heavy machinery. I think that's one thing that we can all agree on. And it's crazy to me that he can't agree on it. Like, yo, Tiger, what are you doing in your life? He says it's because of a privacy thing. He don't want to drive her. Like, come on, bro. You can't.
You get somebody to sign an NDA and you don't have to worry about anything. You're Tiger Woods, for God's sake. But, I mean, to that point, like, you usually get to the point of rock bottom when you've lost everything, when you've lost all your money, where you have to make a change. When you've got the kind of money that Tiger has, what is rock bottom? He's not going to lose $1 billion. Like, what is his rock bottom? Killing somebody? Hurting himself past repair? Like, he's already been at that point.
I wonder. I remember John Mulaney's stand-up where he's talking about the intervention and how they pulled it off on him. And like, I wonder if he needs, like, an intervention. Because, like, hey, I'm going to tell you this. That picture of him, you talk about the mugshot, Dan. How about the picture of him in the cop car with his head resting against the window? That's the one to me that's haunting. It's like, you want your kids to see that, man? They'll be like, yeah, that's my dad again.
Well, I feel bad for Tiger Woods. Maybe I'm alone because I think he's out of control. I don't think he's capable of reining in his own inability to control himself. And when he's publicly embarrassing himself, he's supposed to be such a private man. That's why he's not hiring the chauffeur that he can well afford. And yet he's going through these public embarrassments and posing for police photos. I mean, that's terrible to look at. I feel bad for the guy. You know, I don't condemn him because I think he's just incapable of fighting his addictions right now. He probably does need an intervention because it's clear, not just the latest episode, but years of these wrong steps, that he's incapable of controlling his behaviors.
That suggests to me both sickness and weakness. The distinction I'm making between the two that Tommy Lasorda didn't make when talking about Darryl Strawberry is, if it's something you view as a sickness, it doesn't come with your judgment. If you're viewing it as a weakness, it is coming with an inability to extend that person compassion. I believe that what you're seeing play out in front of you, he could have lost a leg in a previous accident and is not learning from whatever it is needs to be learned here. You hear in sports all the time that some pain or some shame will result in growth, will result in improvement. Did he or did he not almost lose his leg? Never mind whatever it is that he's suffering that compounds the problem, because the car accident to a body that has had 7 back surgeries, when it's a car accident at that size of car accident where you're almost losing your leg, your body holds all sorts of trauma in it that requires pain medication.
Yes, and it derailed his career when he had that auto accident, and he's never recovered from it. He's 50 now. He should be dominating on what used to be called the senior tour.
I thought about this when Myles Garrett got into his accident. I've told you guys the story. I was riding a bicycle 10 years ago down the street, and somebody opened the car door as I was riding the bicycle, and the bicycle stopped. The door did not give, didn't come off on the car door, and I sort of flipped over the handlebars. I have been dealing for 10 years with the things that happen when your body seizes up like that in a moment moment because of whatever the adrenaline rush is. If you're in a car accident that almost takes your leg, don't you imagine, never mind the derailing of the career, that whatever Tiger Woods' back pain was because he needed 7 back surgeries is going to be compounded by whatever it is absorbing the car rolling over is going to do to your body.
You can have empathy and judge somebody. This one, I think, is pretty easy for pundits to weigh in on who aren't super comfortable talking about things like addiction issues. You have all the resources in the world. Get a driver. My mom drove with me and my sister in the car while she was impaired. She crashed into a mailbox, and the car got totaled because it was a cement mailbox. My mom was sick. She was also an asshole for doing that with children in the car. It's not hard.
Dan, when I was growing up, back in my day, there was a saying that people used to say, the devil made me do it. You remember that one? The devil made me do it, right? And what that saying is it basically absolves 100% of the responsibility. It's not to say that it's not a sickness. It's not to say that, like, these people aren't suffering. But when we say open the door, and it's like, yeah, it's a sickness, it then allows for the addict to say, none of this was my fault. I'm just I'm a victim. I'm sick. And it's like, hey, yes, but also you do have some agency in this. Maybe not as much agency as someone who's clear-headed and sober, but you do have some agency. And that's the part that we're coming back to with Tiger Woods is he has agency in all of this. It's not just the devil made me do it.
When you're sick, you seek treatment. When you're physically ill, you seek treatment. When you're mentally ill, it's wise to seek treatment. Tiger Woods has all of the resources in the world. Seek that treatment. If you have that problem and if you are sick, seek that treatment.
Greg Cody has informed us that he has a back in my day for the first time in many, many weeks. I cannot wait to hear where we end up on this palate cleansing joyride.
And now, it is time to take a trip down memory lane. Here's your guide, Greg Cody, with Back in My Day.
Bowling. I'm in a weekly bowling league. Why? Because I'm an everyman, a lunch pail guy, the face of blue collar, and I love it. The camaraderie, the competition. Not a lot of people know bowling was the first thing I covered at the Miami Herald, even before high school sports. I was a teenager. I'd sneak my friends' names into the bowling agate with a made-up score. As a kid, I'd nap on a Saturday to the muffled scatter and clatter of pins and the droning commentary of Chris Schenkel. But bowling has changed from what it was back in my day. We're in a handicap league, meaning all different levels of player, women and men. On any given Wednesday night, the person bowling on the next lane might be a Sharpie with 6 strikes in a row, or might be a gutter duster lucky to make a single pin spare. But all bowlers nowadays, except me, have this in common. Everybody thinks they're a pro. They waltz into the bowling alley with rolling luggage full of 4, 5, 6 different bowling balls. I'm the only one in my entire league, no lie, with a single handheld bag containing 1 ball. The others have a ball for oily lane conditions, another ball for dry lanes, a ball for particular spare combos, please. The ball racks get filled up, and there's so many bags and rollers of surplus balls, the poor waitress trying to bring me another bucket of Miller Lite has to weave through a slalom of luggage. Ridiculum. Also, fella wearing his name in script on the back of your bowling shirt, nobody knows who you are or cares. You're bowling a 138. Get in your lane, and I don't mean lane 11. Also, Don Carter, quit dancing into my lane with your body English after the ball leaves your hands. Another thing, if you're not using 3 fingers, 2 digits, and a thumb, you're not bowling. Make bowling bowling again. 3 fingers, a 2-ball limit, and no name on your shirt because you're in a handicap league for a reason, Jack. Also, bring back Chris Schenkel even though he's dead. I'm Greg Cody, and that's how it was back in my day.
Is that a Greg Cody first down? Are you guys?
I can't do that.
He's marching up and down the field today.
I can't do that.
You sound a bit winded. You guys were shaking your head. Do you agree or disagree with some of his bowling takes there? It seemed like the fingers was a problem. The holding of the ball, you guys seem to disagree with in there.
I didn't know, my bad, I didn't know that the people were coming with multiple balls in a bag.
Oh, my God. Wednesday night, I'm going to take photos of what I'm talking about. It's an epidemic. It really is. In the bowling circles, it's an epidemic. And bowlers out there, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Greg, there's no way you take a picture of it on Wednesday night. You're going to completely forget one. Two, don't you play? Do you play or do you bowl? Like, what's the adjective?
I bowl.
Do you bowl? Okay, so it's not play. You don't play bowling.
Oh, I'm serious about it. I ain't playing.
Attaboy.
Yeah, right.
You bowl with Chris, right? Chris is a part of your
Yes,
team. Aren't
yeah.
you guys like the Thundercats or something?
It's like, well, we're the Jets this year. You know, it's like Storm NFL. We all get the name of an NFL team at random, and we happen to be the Jets.
That's
is
the
sad.
lady that announces all the team names, right? Where
Yes.
you said Storm NFL.
Storm NFL.
So Chris has multiple balls?
Yeah, Christopher comes with like 3 balls.
Really?
Yeah.
Chris has got 3 balls?
Yeah, and that's average amount. A lot of guys, I swear, you feel like you're going through an airport. People are pulling bags of luggage with nothing but bowling balls, and they all have these fancy shoes. They have the little sock that goes over the shoe that they don't take off until they're stepping onto the lane itself. It's powder on their hands. It's just like, it's ridiculous, this handicap league. People who are no better at bowling than me with all these accoutrements. It's ridiculous.
And those balls are of different weight, correct?
Different weight, different surface. You know, some of them are made for an oily lane. I'm looking at a piece of wood. I can't tell whether it's a dry lane or oily. It's shiny. They're all shiny, these lanes. What does that mean?
Greg, all you need is 1 ball, a raggedy pair of shoes, and about 12 Miller Lights.
Thank you very much. You got that right. And here's the weird part. I tend to bowl better in my 3rd game, even though that's when I've, got a little hammer time going on. You know what I mean?
It's because you're not overthinking it.
It could be.
It's got to be that.
Yeah,
but also,
it relaxes you a little bit.
You consider yourself the face of blue collar?
Yeah, I really am.
I agree.
Yeah. You don't?
I mean, he's going to the bowling alley with the equivalent of a lunch pail. He's going with 1 bag, 1 ball,
One bag,
old
one
school
ball.
style, just a Casey at the Bat poem tucked
Yes.
into his bowling bag from the 1880s.
Thank you.
You mentioned the Jets. David Fudonis has a great stat here. You ready? The last quarterback to lead the Dolphins and the Jets to a division title is the same. It's Chad Pennington in both instances. Do you realize how long ago that was?
18 years.
But that's crazy for the last time it to happen for both franchises. The quarterback's the same. Chad Pennington came closer to winning the MVP here because of what he did with the Dolphins than he did with the Jets. I've got some basketball stats to throw your guys' way as J.J. Redick is now adding his voice to Luka should win the MVP, okay? You have last night in OKC, free throws attempted by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander the last 2 games in OKC, 41. Free throws attempted by the entire Knicks and Pistons teams combined in their games the last 2 nights versus the Thunder, 40. This is not a good thing, the way that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is saying, I'm the MVP, I let the game speak for me. Redick is trying to make Luka the MVP, and the stats for Luka over the last 16 games are crazy. They at the time when this is being decided, Luka's averaging 36.5 points. That's Jordan territory. That's Jordan at his best territory. He's shooting better than Jordan did. He's shooting 49.5% on 36.5 points a game and 39% from 3. He's also got 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and they're 14-2 in their last 16. LeBron, as the oldest player in the league, had a triple-double again. And it's the perfect role for him to be playing at this point in his career. Like, that's happened fairly quietly, all things considered. The seeding of the team to Luka. Luka's allowed to go 12 for 27 because Luka's allowed to take all the shots. LeBron is playing the perfect complementary game, taking a secondary role to Luka here.
Yeah, I mean, the best that he could possibly do at this stage of his career. Yeah, sure. Luka didn't play last night, by the way. He was suspended for that 16 technical foul that he incurred the other night, which, of course, lined up perfectly because they're playing the Wizards, who nobody really cares about. But, yeah, no, I think LeBron is doing the best he could possibly do. Do I wish he was shooting better from three? Sure. There's ways he could be better, but it's like, given that his entire career has been the ball is in my hands and I decide whether we succeed or fail, and now he's off ball, it is pretty remarkable how well he's playing.
To go back to the SGA point, obviously him being the front runner for MVP, you've got Wemby, who's now talked his way and obviously played his way into being number 2.
Great game last night.
Yeah, great game last night, 41. I saw a stat, by the way. I don't know if do you want a stat of the day, Dan?
Another one?
Another one, just a quick one.
Sure.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is here, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is here, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is here, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is here, start of the day.
6 games with 40 or more points in his NBA career, Victor Wembanyama has. Do you know how many 40-point games the Iceman George Gervin had as a San Antonio Spur? 69. 69 40-point games for the Iceman. Pretty good.
The nice man.
Attaboy. So with that, I mean, obviously SGA won the MVP last year. Wemby has not. Oh, wow.
The nice man. I defer here to Greg Cody. What are your thoughts there on the 69 joke?
You called him the nice man?
You didn't even notice the joke, did you?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Of all the people to turn to and ask for the nuance of the 69 joke, you turn to your left.
No, it's too easy.
He's in a handicap bowling league.
I don't like to say obvious pun-related
That's
things
right.
and stuff like that. I might have given it a very good, but that's about it.
Michelle Beadle is going to join us in a little bit to talk about this and other things.
Wait, what was the stat?
George Gervin had 69. 40
That's it, but what about Wemby?
He's got 6. I mean, he's only played for 3 years.
All right.
It's an Iceman thing. Iceman. Chris has got 3 balls. Greg Cody said it, not me. He would know more than anybody.
3. He's got at least 3.
Do you realize, though, the general communications fracture in playing my dad singing Stat of the Day and Jeremy, a cast member, looking at you and saying, so when are you going to give us the stat? you just
didn't land.
Whoever's fault it is, it doesn't matter. Do you realize the communication fracture?
No, we know. We know. Chris has got 3 balls.